Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage SARRC's Chief Science Officer, Dr. Christopher J. Smith.
For 27 years, SARRC has continuously evolved to meet the needs of the autism community by developing programs for children, teens, and adults. Now, as the adult population continues to get older, SARRC is conducting important research so we can meet their needs in this next stage of life, aging. In 2014, Leslie Baxter and Blair Braden contacted me about doing a study of aging and autism. Both Leslie and Blair had expertise in studying Alzheimer's disease, and we all agreed that the aging literature in autism was in its infancy. If we were going to understand how the aging process would affect people with autism, we needed to design a study that would measure the brain activity associated with everyday tasks and then identify potential changes that occur with age. When we do almost any task, at work, school, in the house, help our kids with homework, or even plan a vacation, multiple areas of the brain are activated. Even in the most routine tasks involve memory, problem solving, and planning. In our study, we measured participants' ability to do these tasks with structured cognitive tests, and the associated brain activity was measured with a functional MRI scan. Let me explain how we collected this information for research purposes. This is a person in an MRI scanner. The scan starts at the top of the head and continues taking images in slices until it reaches the eyes. All participants in our study completed a variety of cognitive tests while they were inside the MRI scanner at Barrow Neurological Institute. Our study was funded by the Department of Defense Autism Research Program, and they recognized our innovative approach in their national newsletter a few years back. Now on to the results. We included 4 groups of participants in our study: young adults ages 18 to 25, one non-autistic group, and the other with autism. We also included older adults, ages 40 to 64. Again, one autistic group, one non-autistic group, and the other with autism. All participants, autistic and non-autistic, had an average or above average IQ. This first scan is from a young, non-autistic participant. Remember, the MRI takes images of the brain in slices from the top down. That's why you see about 34 images on this scan, but it's all one brain. That first image in the upper left-hand corner is at the very top of the head, and that last image on the bottom right is just at the eyes. All the brain activity is shown on the images in between. I want to focus your attention on the number of colors in each image. Different colors represent the engagement in different brain areas. On this slide, you can see green, red, and blue, which means that 3 different areas of the brain are engaged while the participant completes a cognitive test during the scan. Now let's add the scan from the young autistic person. Only 2 colors are present, red and blue. The green is completely absent. Fewer colors mean that fewer brain areas are engaged. Now let's add the scan from the older, non-autistic participant. First, I want you to focus your attention on the size difference of the colored areas. There are still 3, but the areas aren't as big and robust as they were in the scan with the young, non-autistic person. The smaller size of the colored areas means that less of that brain area is engaged. Now let's add the scan from the older autistic participant. Still 2 colors, red and blue, but again, the colored areas are smaller than we see in the scan from the younger autistic participant. Either using fewer brain regions or using less of each region is concerning because it means that processing of information is less efficient. That means that completing tasks will take more time, which can present challenges. Here's the take-home message. Everyone uses less of their brain as they age. Tasks get more difficult for all of us. However, we know from this study that younger autistic adults are already engaging less of their brain than non-autistic peers. and as they age, they continue to decrease brain engagement. It's important to remember that there is a wide range of abilities among people in the autism community, so these results may not apply to everybody. Many people with autism are capable of learning and developing skills to do almost anything. However, it was clear from this study that many autistic adults, even those with higher IQs than mine, might need support to better manage their daily activities and compensate for this difference. But at the time, there were no evidence-based treatment programs to provide that kind of support. But just as we have always done, SARRC is once again evolving to meet the needs of the autism community. For the next phase of this project, SARRC's research director, Dr. Nicole Matthews, collaborated with Leslie and Blair to develop a treatment program for autistic adults that would help them improve their ability to complete routine, everyday tasks and better prepare them for aging. Please welcome Nicole, who's here to tell you all about this groundbreaking intervention.
The results Dr. Smith shared with you inspired our team to develop the Strengthening Skills Program, a 16-week group-based program that prepares autistic adults as they age by teaching strategies to support 3 areas: brain functioning, social relationships, and mental health. We were awarded additional funding from the DoD, and we worked together with autistic adults to develop the program. We first asked middle-aged and older adults about strategies they've used to overcome their challenges, and we noticed an interesting theme. In the absence of formal supports, they developed workarounds for their unique challenges. For example, a 60-year-old shares that he plans his life using what he calls energy coins. Over time, he learned that he couldn't tolerate multiple overstimulating events on the same day, or even too many in the same week. So he strategically plans his life based on the number of energy coins each event requires. Unfortunately, effective workarounds did not come easily for many of the adults we spoke to. They reported having to learn the hard way, sometimes over decades, with a lot of trial and error and disappointment. Our goal was to provide autistic adults with a tool belt of strategies that would reduce the mental energy needed to process the world around them and plan their day-to-day lives. Our tool belt prepares autistic adults as they age and includes energy accounting, adapted from the energy coin strategy I just shared with you, as well as habit formation, strategies related to improving social relationships, and mindfulness techniques to help regulate symptoms of anxiety and depression. Let me give you an example of what this looked like in practice. Several of our participants were overwhelmed by the amount of paperwork that was piling up in their living spaces, which could lead to issues like misplacing important documents and past due bills. Here, we introduced habit formation strategies. First, participants defined a simple behavior, something like, I will spend 15 minutes every day organizing paperwork. Then, they chose an anchor, something like eating dinner, to pair the new behavior with. And then they practiced. In just a couple of weeks, this habit led to improved organization and reduced stress. Habit formation can be applied to virtually anything, so once participants mastered their first habit, they were encouraged to add more, one at a time. One of my favorite mindfulness techniques in the tool belt is the STOP method. STOP is an acronym for stop, take a breath, observe the situation, and make a mindful decision as to how to proceed. I personally used this strategy multiple times this morning before this speech. If you're thinking that the challenges we target in strengthening skills are not all that different than challenges encountered by the average adult, you're right. These strategies are helpful for anyone. But because of the functional brain differences between autistic and non-autistic adults, the potential for meaningful quality of life improvements in autistic adults is so much greater. After developing the initial plan for the program, we conducted a pilot study. 2 cohorts of autistic adults between the ages of 21 and 73 participated in the Strengthening Skills program through weekly group Zoom meetings that included didactic lessons, discussion, and home practice assignments. Participants in Strengthening Skills showed large improvements in their psychological well-being compared to a control group of autistic adults who did not participate in the program. We found similar patterns for problem-solving skills and social relationships, with the Strengthening Skills group showing improvements and the control group staying steady over the 16-week study period. Together with autistic adults, we created a program that will help other autistic adults to overcome their challenges and improve their quality of life. It is our hope that through additional funding, one day the Strengthening Skills Tool Belt will be widely accessible to all autistic adults seeking support as they age, so that they can continue to channel their passions and talents into meaningful contributions to their communities.